Alrighty, morning everyone, and welcome back to another beautiful video on this beautiful channel on another beautiful day. In today's video, I want to talk to you with you about some pitfalls in connection to gold and silver. Now, some of you might say, yeah, well, what do you mean pitfalls? There's nothing wrong with gold and silver necessarily. No, of course not. But there are still some things that you have to take into consideration in connection with gold and silver that you should just keep in mind and think about when you're interacting with, for example, bullion dealers, or maybe also the silver and gold prices on the stock market and all kinds of stuff like that. And I think it makes sense to talk about that today because there are many people out there that don't really give a you-know-what about stuff like that, and they are making pretty massive mistakes at the moment, which could end very badly. And I don't want anyone watching this channel to do that kind of stuff because it's just not very good. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. But first of all, of course, we're going to take a look at the stuff that I brought for you today. First of all, 1 ounce gold Luna 3 Tiger, one of my favorite Luna 3 coins. It really looks great. For some reason, I didn't like it when it came out, but now I just really love it. Probably has something to do with the fact that I bought it, but it's one of my favorite coins, and I really like it, even more than the silver version of that actually. So next one is a 1 ounce Cook Islands Silver Star. It's a good looking coin in my opinion. Unfortunately, it does not come in a capsule, so it will get milk spots eventually, unfortunately. But, it's just something that you gotta live with if you're buying coins that don't come in a capsule. Unfortunately, many bullion dealers don't actually list whether or not the coin comes in a capsule. I don't know why you wouldn't, because that's just an important fact, because if you're buying a collectible coin, collectible quote unquote, but if you're buying a collectible coin that doesn't come in a capsule, it will get milk spots and it's therefore not going to be collectible anymore. So not writing that there is a very light form of scamming in my opinion. So moving on with this 1 ounce silver Fraser's Dolphin, really beautiful coin from the Royal Australian Mint. Of course, comes in capsule, so no issues there. Really beautiful coin. I like those a lot. I prefer the Australia's Most Dangerous series from the Royal Australian Mint. I think that's their best series that they are doing at the moment. And as you might know, they came out with the new coin, which is the boxed jellyfish, just a few days ago. So that's really epic, and I'm definitely going to get that eventually, hopefully. We'll see. Next one is this Luna 3 series coin, and this is actually the first one. This is the one with the mouse. Really beautiful coin as well, and it's also very interesting that this one went up in value so much over the last couple of months. I don't know why necessarily. I mean, it's a nice coin, but there was a lot of them. They minted a lot of them. I think the mintage was like 300,000, which is a decent amount. No, that doesn't mean that they minted 300,000. That only means that the maximum mintage was 300,000. So I don't know how many they minted. Maybe they minted way less, and that's why we'll probably never know. But yeah. That's another interesting fact about that coin. So, pitfalls in connection with gold and silver. The first thing, obviously, is bullion dealers. We all like bullion dealers, right? Of course, the people that sell the great gold and silver coins that we love so much to us. The problem is that some of them, kind of use some not so great techniques to do so. For example, telling you if you, go to some local dealer or whatever, that they expect, and of course they are speaking from a point of authority because, they are a bullion dealer, so they must know their stuff. They expect the price of gold or silver, whatever you want to buy, to go up in the near future. And maybe then also say that, that's why they don't have a lot of inventory at the moment because people have been buying it like whatever. Right? That is not a great thing to say because it's very manipulative, of course. And I get why you would be saying that, but as a dealer, you have to realize that these are people's financial decisions and you shouldn't pressure them into buying anything. It's just not very nice because people might do financial mistakes because of your evaluation that you might have just said because you wanted to sell something. It's just not very nice. I've heard it from multiple sources now, and I just wanted to talk about that because it's just not a nice thing, and it's something to be aware of. A dealer is going to say that maybe not because they actually believe that's the case, and even if it doesn't really matter, even if they believe that this would be the case, it is very manipulative, and you should make your decisions, not make your decisions based on the opinion of some dealer or whatever, because it's your financial stuff and you should make your own decisions in that regards. So be careful of that, be mindful of that, and don't do stupid mistakes because of something like that. Because at the end of the day, an opinion is just an opinion and it doesn't really matter where it's coming from. The next problematic thing is, of course, people on the internet telling you that gold and silver are gonna go to like whatever, silver to $1,000 in purchasing power and stuff like that, right? We've talked about that on the channel before. That's the kind of stuff that you should probably ignore. Why? Because it's just not realistic, and you should not base your purchasing decisions of gold and silver on something that is just not realistic. Like, for example, silver going to $1,000 an ounce in purchasing power. It doesn't mean that the dollar can't be worth not a lot in the future. You know, let me phrase it this way. Every currency at some point kind of meets its demise because they are kind of made to deteriorate over time. These currencies are made to devalue with inflation to, kind of produce growth over time, right? And they are made to be exchanged into another currency at some point in the future. That's what happened to every single currency in the past that was not backed by something material. And it will happen to all the currencies that we have in the world today at some point. So that is just kind of a thing you have to think about, right? But regardless of that, if someone is telling you silver is going to go to like 1,000 or whatever dollars an ounce, it will most definitely, likely, unfortunately, not do that, right? It's just not something that you should rely on if you want to buy something to keep your money safe from inflation or whatever, right? That's not something to rely on. You should rely on something that actually makes sense. For example, silver is a good store of value. Silver kept its value over very long periods of time, right? You can always sell silver very easily if you need the money. Stuff like that, right? Actually reasonable stuff that is the case, and not some extremely exuberant speculation about the future in regards to what might happen to the price. No, I really don't think that's reasonable at all. Not only just $1,000 an ounce, but like just basing your purchasing decision on someone saying stuff like that. It doesn't have to be $1,000 an ounce. It can be any number, really. But I don't think that's reasonable. I really do think you should look at the present day. What is silver doing right now? What is the problems at the market maybe with silver and its manipulation and stuff like that? How likely is it that it's going to get out of that at some point? Not very. So it's just kind of stuff to think about, right? There is a lot more silver in paper form than there is in actual silver form. 300 plus times more, actually. So a lot more. So it's just very unlikely for physical silver to do something like that ever, because it's got real world applications, and these real world applications would become way less if it was that expensive. It just is what it is, right? It's not some kind of magical metal that just goes up in price for seemingly no reason and then doesn't come down again. No, like it's a physical object that has real world applications, and that's why it's got its value, right? These applications might be protecting you from crisis and stuff like that, or they might also be producing something that then has some sort of value, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter, but it's not some mythical thing that can just produce money out of thin air. So if you think that it is that, please just consider that again, because it's not. Same thing with gold, right? Gold is a great store of value. Gold is or has been a great security against financial issues and financially tough times in the past, but it's definitely not something that's going to go up to $50,000 an ounce in purchasing power over the next couple of seconds. So yeah, if you think that, please think something else. The last little point of caution is something that I actually just touched on a few seconds ago, and that's the market, or well, rather the market manipulation of mostly of silver, because silver is a lot more manipulated than gold, in my opinion. And manipulation is obviously quote-unquote manipulation because it's not legally manipulation as far as I'm concerned, but it is. If you look at how this market works, it certainly is. Like, in any kind of like logical way. So this manipulation, what do I mean with that? I am pretty much just referring to the amount of paper silver, quote unquote, so silver that does not really exist on the market, not physical silver, not silver that is not backed by actual physical silver, right? Just a piece of paper that says it's silver, but there's no silver behind it, so you couldn't get the amount of silver that is written on the piece of paper. The amount of paper silver is far ahead of 300 times the amount of physical silver that is actually tradable on the market. Now, the problem with physical silver, of course, is that you can't trade it electronically because, well, it's physical silver. You can't put that into a computer. So you have to have some sort of certificate for it. The problem is at some point that these certificates just got completely detached from physical silver itself. So there are just certificates out there that maybe represent 1/1000th of an ounce and are sold for 1 ounce. And, that creates issues, a lot of them actually. And one main issue is that the physical silver doesn't really have a lot to do with the spot price of silver. That is not great, as you might be able to guess yourself. That is not great. And the main reason why I'm telling you all that is mainly because you can't go into that market just thinking, okay, I'm going to look at whatever, how silver has performed in the past, and I'm going to look at its future applications, stuff like that, and then I'm going to determine where it's going to be at in 2 years. It just doesn't work that way with silver, unfortunately. It is not, the silver price rarely does anything reasonable. It's extraordinarily hard to predict that. I've never seen any price of any commodity or any stock or whatever that was that hard to predict what it might do in the future. That was not a great sentence, but you get what I mean. And there's a similar thing with gold, but gold has way less of that, right? I think it's like 1/5 of the amount of manipulation that silver has. So it's a lot less. It's still a lot, but it's a lot less than it is with silver, and therefore it's way less severe, as you can see with the gold price, because that is reasonably predictable. Not extraordinarily easy, but much more easy than the price of silver. And that's just kind of something you have to be mindful of as well if you're looking to get into gold and silver, because, you're gonna have to deal with the price of it at some point, right? So you might as well already accept that there is not a lot of reasonable stuff going on there and just stick to your physical stuff and just think, okay, I've got my 1 ounce. It's not becoming heavier or less in weight just because the price is doing anything. And so just be happy with that, and that's it. And don't invest any money that you don't have. Another very important thing that people seem to forget in their euphoria that silver is going to whatever, $1,000 an ounce. Please don't go into margin for gold and silver. Don't do stuff like that. Only invest the money that you really don't need or that you want to stash away for some sort of security emergency, whatever, right? And even then, you might have to sell it with a bit of a loss. Might be, right? That's certainly possible because, as I said, manipulation, stuff like that, and also just normal market movement can cause things like that. So just be mindful of that as well. Alrighty, I hope you kind of got where I'm coming from with this. If you've got a different opinion or want to just ask something or want to tell me something or have the same opinion, whatever, just write in the comments below. I'd be very happy to answer all your comments as always. And if you want to, you can rate the video with like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you might want to do. And you can also subscribe to the channel. That would make me very, very happy. And then, yeah, have a fantastic week. And until next time.